You know when things just seem to be lining up against you? Pause, my friend. It's not that serious. It's being too serious about everything. Hello and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today's going to be a great day. Today, I'm sharing with you the number one way to get out of a bad day. And here's the secret. Everything that feels so serious is not. Making everything so serious is making everything so serious. That's it. That's the secret. 99% of the time, we create these catastrophes and these heavy, serious things in our lives that aren't even a thing. We add meaning and stress and urgency and seriousness and heaviness when there really isn't. What I promise you is it's only life. Literally. If there's one truth in this world, every single one of us is going to die. That's the truth of it. And I don't see that as terrifying or threatening. It's enormously liberating because nothing I do will impact that. I'm going to die one day. That's it. Everything really is not that serious. It's amazing how we have created this habit throughout our lives of making things really heavy, of making things very serious, of keeping things urgent and making ourselves feel more valuable in that. Do you feel that with me? I think I've done that definitely in my life by creating a heaviness or a seriousness of almost imagine that gives me more validation or value. Let's swing this right back round to the healthcare world. We tell ourselves that our degrees, the amount of work we've put in, the amount of studying, the value of what we deliver is so important and serious. And yes, it is. Thank you to my incredible colleagues. Thank you to my husband who right now is at the hospital helping a woman who got kicked in the mouth by her horse and has a bilateral condylar fracture and a symphyseal fracture. So thank you to all of you incredible men and women who help and serve and heal every single day. And yes, it's important. Let's not get this twisted. What you are doing is incredible in this world, and let's not take it so seriously. You know, it's so funny. As I'm speaking these words, I'm feeling resistance. It's probably an echo of mine from my former belief structure, but it's perhaps an echo of yours. Resistance to coming up with all the reasons why life actually is so serious. Come on, Tarryn, what about this situation? What about this situation? And here's what I'm going to say. Unless you are at war and literally running from people who are threatening your life, almost everything else is not that serious. Wow. What we tell ourselves is that things are so heavy, and the heaviness and the seriousness of it makes us live the reality of a bad day. Let me give you an example so that you have a better understanding of what I'm talking about here. This is a very typical day in the life of Tarryn because I was the queen of making everything so serious. I was the president of making things serious because I also loved to solve serious problems because that made me feel super important. In fact, it made me feel like a superwoman, a superhero, when something really heavy was saved by Tarryn MacCarthy. Fabulous moniker of mine. I was so proud of that fact. In fact, because I valued that part of myself of solving deep, heavy problems for people, I found more and more of them in my life. I found more opportunities to save people from the pain or the torture, whatever they were going through. In fact, seriousness, creating things that were so important, allowed me to escape the important aspects of taking care of myself. Well, this is too important. I'm going to skip my stretching today. This is too important. I'm just not going to eat well. I'm going to just grab something on the way. This is way too important, way too serious. I'm going to ignore my family tonight because I have to focus on this serious, heavy, deep, important thing. Seriousness actually also robbed me of sleep. When I would take a conversation that I had during the day and add so much meaning and heaviness to it, it would literally keep me up at night. I would wake up at 2 a.m. and rehearse that conversation over and over and over again because I was making it so serious. One of the ways we make things serious is we attach meaning to it. The truth is, sometimes things just happen. Sometimes you don't get that job because you didn't get the job, because it doesn't have anything to do with your value, your excellence, your credibility, your ability to do an amazing job in that position. You just didn't get the job. Okay, move on. Grass grows, birds fly, and you didn't get the job. When we attach meaning to it, we sometimes create such heaviness and seriousness in it that it robs us of the freedom that we deserve, that nothing is that serious. Now, I'm saying this as somebody who has been through a lot of trauma in her past. I'm saying this full knowing all the examples that your resistance is coming up with right now. Oh, but what about this? What about this? What about this? Even death. For real, my friends. Even death, because guess what? We are all destined to die. This time here in this beautiful place we call Earth, in this beautiful habitus we call human bodies, is such a gift, and it's not that serious. Nothing we do during the day is that serious. So the number one way to get out of a bad day is to tap into levity, to tap into making it playful, to tap into reminding yourself, oh, Tarryn, it's not that serious. I spun myself into a serious loop last week, 2 weeks ago, and it lasted for 2 weeks, about clothing. It's not that serious. But do you hear me? Do you feel me? Do you recognize something like that in yourself? I mean, on that day when I was low down, I couldn't be productive about anything. I was snippy with my kids. I was snippy with my husband. I was even snippy at work. And I luckily could recognize that in myself and say, what is going on here, Tarryn? What are you making so serious? And what I immediately went to was clothing and my body image. Now, this is an old core wound of mine, but guess what? It's not that serious. It's not. I was making it so serious. So yes, there's deeper work to be done. Yes, understanding our core wounds is important. Yes, talking to someone, finding a life coach, working through those things is so important. But when you need a tool in the moment, when you wake up and you realize, oh my gosh, I am snippy with everyone. I am having a bad day. In fact, when you hear yourself say those words, man, I am having a bad day. And you will know them when they arrive. When you see everything kind of working against you, you know those days where you feel like, man, and then I sat in traffic, and then she said no, and then my kid made me late, and then my clothes didn't fit, and then that one dress that I thought I could wear was at the laundromat, and then... If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you didn't get into business to be miserable. The problem is that people feel that if their business gets busier, if they start becoming more successful, that happiness will eventually set in. But it can actually get worse. This is why I created the Business of Happiness Prosperity Coaching. In this one-on-one coaching, we look at how to redefine success on your terms and re-find the joy and the passion in your dream. Visit me at thebizofhappiness.com and become the happiest business owner you know. You know when things just seem to be lining up against you? Pause, my friend. It's not that serious. It's being too serious about everything. What is the tool you can use in that moment? And here's what I'm going to suggest. Going straight to the power of levity. It's miraculous. It's something we don't learn about enough, especially as healthcare providers, as people in these very quote unquote, I'm using air quotes here for those of you who are not on the YouTube version of this podcast, important. We make everything so important. I'm so important. And yes, all day long, when I am in my orthodontic practice, I am telling people why their smiles matter, and I mean it, and I believe it. And yes, it's important work to me. Absolutely caring for my patients and providing them with the confidence and the tools of self-empowerment through their smiles, it means the world to me. And it's not that important. It's not that big a deal if someone chooses of their own autonomy not to receive care from me. It's not that big a deal. It's not so serious. When somebody announces on your team that they are quitting, that they are leaving your team, someone you have relied on, feel so serious in the moment. It's not that serious. In that moment, to be able to access your higher self, in that moment, to be able to access your frontal cortex, prefrontal cortex, where your brilliance and your intelligence lives, here's what you do. You immediately activate levity. It works every single time. It gives you perspective. It pulls you up of that deep, dark place of seriousness, and it gives you greater insight. Oh, maybe she wasn't so great all along. Actually, this is better for me. Maybe this employee who has just announced that she's leaving my practice, if she hasn't been happy, the truth is probably I haven't been happy. It's usually a mutual thing. It's usually something that maybe should have happened a few months ago. And you know what? She just did me a favor. It's not that serious. There's so many other opportunities. In fact, this just opened up a glorious opportunity for me to hire somebody who might be that magical person that I really, really am so grateful for on this team. This opens up new, fresh excitement, new enthusiasm to the team, new sense of life. In fact, maybe now I can reconsider this position altogether. And maybe there's someone on the team who really needs this position and actually is ready to shine. It's not that serious. But being able to have that perspective is only reached when you can pull yourself out of that deep seriousness feeling. So, how do we do that? I have a couple of tools. For me, the one tool that works every single time is music, uplifting, not serious, fun and playful music. It's incredible. It works for me all the time. In fact, my husband, who I've mentioned Killian here on the podcast several times, and I just talked about him at the beginning of this episode, he incorporates a lot of these practices in his work as well. He's an oral surgeon. This week he is on hospital call. He has been, oh, sweet man, I just adore him so much. He has been literally at the hospital every night for hours and hours and hours. This amazing human being, and thank you so much to all of you out there who do this, loses a lot of sleep when he's on call. And then, trust me, he kicks into high gear his self-care. Even in the middle of a serious, important surgical procedure, Killian plays lighthearted music. His choice is, I think he does 80s. He has a whole OR playlist, and it's thousands and thousands of hours long. But he recognizes the value of keeping it light, even when you're telling yourself it's so serious. And trust me, when somebody's life is in your hands, it feels pretty serious. But the power of levity in that moment is critical. When you can shake your booty in the OR while someone is in your hands, it gives you room to access your higher consciousness. It gives you room to not take things so seriously. It gives you room to let go of control and self-judgment. Because that's all it is. That's what's making it so serious. It's your addiction to control and self-judgment. Oh, that's it. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's not that serious. You just thought you were in control the whole time. You just were trying to insist on control the whole time. Guess what? None of us are getting out of here alive. In the words of the wonderful, my mentor, Tracy Litt, that's what she says. And I love what she says. None of us are getting out of here alive. So guess what? Not that serious. So put on some 80s music while you're doing this important surgery and access your prefrontal cortex and let go of control and self-judgment so that you can be your very best for your patients. So that you can be your very best for your children, so that you can be your very best for yourself. Here's your go-to, music. That's mine. Now, the black belt version of this, throw in a dance. Move your body. What you're doing from a physiological standpoint is you're accessing your parasympathetic nervous system. And I know we talk about this ad nauseum on this podcast, but as medical and dental healthcare professionals, there is nothing more important than being able to recognize when you're in that fight or flight sympathetic nervous system state and bringing yourself back down. And when you're in the throes of having a bad day, levity will do that for you every time. Moving your body bilaterally, having movement, doing something ridiculous with your body. And believe me, I am no dancer, but I have been known to dance a lot and make a fool of myself. And guess what? It's not that serious. FYI, interesting fun fact, I even participated in dentists, what was it called? Dentists, Dancing with the Dentists. Yeah, it was a fundraiser here in Maine. And Killian and I both did this. We took ballroom dancing lessons with incredible, I mean, really amazing, very talented humans. And I was honored for this opportunity. We were like two left feet on that dance floor. But man, did we have fun. Nothing is that serious. We even danced in front of all of our colleagues. I mean, please, if we can do this, anybody can. It was such a release at the end of the day to remind ourselves, nothing is that serious. Nothing is that serious. If dancing and music is not your go-to, I can't imagine. I can't live in that world where it's not. But if it's not, here's another one. Getting out into nature and realizing, oh, it's not that serious. This land has gone through drought. This land has gone through ice and frozen temperatures. I mean, here in Maine, it blows my mind what the animals and the plants can survive. And guess what? They also die one day. And it's not that serious. Getting into nature gives you that perspective. Oh, it's not that important. It's not that serious. My 14-year-old son yelling at me and me having these serious thoughts of he's going to be an angry human for the rest of his life. Oh, wait a minute, Tarryn. He's just 14. It's not that serious. I get that perspective in a heartbeat. Another way, another tool to access levity, Do something ridiculous. Make a ridiculous face. When you're holding yourself so serious, we prevent ourselves from moving the muscles of our face. And activating your facial muscles brings you back to levity and brings you back to parasympathetic nervous system state. It's not that serious. Make a crazy, ridiculous face. The black belt version of this, add a crazy, ridiculous sound to it. Remind yourself you're not that serious. The situation is not that serious. Pull yourself out of it for a moment and realize, oh yeah, we all fart. I mean, really, I don't think I've said that word yet on this podcast. But how ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is that sound? When none of us are serious, we realize, oh, we're all just human beings. It's not that important. We all fart. Remind yourself that even fancy, important people fart. It's not that serious. We take things so seriously. Making everything so serious is making everything so serious. I love this other practice that my great friend Laura Collatz, Dr. Laura Collatz, and it escapes me right now which episode, but please look it up if you're interested in re-listening to this episode. She is a dentist and she is now a laughter yoga coach. Laughing on purpose for a minute, even when you're having a bad day. And what that looks like is literally forcing a laugh. So when she says laugh on purpose, she means actually activate laughing even when you don't feel like it. Another way to access levity. Because what it does is it makes you realize this is ridiculous. This is so dumb. I'm laughing for no reason. And yeah, I'm also making things serious for no reason. The brilliance of allowing yourself a moment of levity will pull you out of a bad day in a heartbeat, I promise. Now, you might need to do it a few more times during the day because let's face it, our addiction to making things serious is ingrained and embedded in us. It's like a nice, cozy home we like to go back to. I am absolutely evidence of this. Every now and then I go really back deep into seriousness. And that's why I have my bad day playlist. My bad day playlist is when I recognize that I am getting serious, I am making things way too important, I am making things way too heavy, and I need to pull myself up out of it because I literally can't even think straight. I'm being quippy and irritable and impatient. I press that button, bad day playlist. And the name of it is on purpose, not because I like voicing negativity, but because bad day playlist is what I feel like when I'm in the moment. And when I'm having a bad day, I can hear myself say those words in my thought and in my verbiage. I'm having a bad day. Guess what? Bad day playlist, press play. It works every time. So I invite you to make your own bad day playlist. And the next time you're having a bad day, number one, be aware of it. Be keenly aware of your language and your thoughts when you're saying, today's just going to be a bad day. Man, I just have to get through this day. There is another way, my friend, and it's called levity. And maybe you need to call up levity 47 times that day to help you pull out of the seriousness and the truth of the day, which is it's not so serious. Grab yourself a bad day playlist and hit play. And if you need some advice, because I have a gorgeous bad day playlist, if you would love my playlist, I am so honored to share it with you. Just send me an email at tarryn@thebizofhappiness.com, TARRYN @thebizofhappiness.com, and I will send it to you right away, for free, no strings attached. Let me know. I'm so honored to share this playlist with you. I've been cultivating it for years. It is my go-to, and I'm telling you, it'll pull you up out of it in a heartbeat. And if there's a song on there that you don't resonate with, hey, toss it. Just hit delete and insert your own, create your own bad day playlist. And you know what's great about the bad day playlist is I can do it even at work when I'm with patients. I keep it right next to my computer. My cell phone's always at my computer. And if I need it, I just tap on one. And I've listened to this playlist so many times that it's actually ingrained in me to pull me back into a place of levity and my parasympathetic nervous system. It's almost like an anchor, like a neurolinguistic tool, an anchor that gives me back that state. So the more you practice this, the faster you can return to levity and recognizing, oh, not so serious, not so serious. There's a perspective here that I just can't access right now because I'm taking it so seriously. But I can always remember it's not so serious. And remember for a moment, a day or a moment when you remembered, oh yeah, I was taking it so seriously. It wasn't a big deal. I was turning into this huge, long drama of when she didn't respond to my text, it meant X, Y, and Z. And now I see I was just conflating it and making a huge, deep story and making it so much more serious than it needed to be. That's what kicks in when you can identify I'm making it too serious and you can activate the power of levity. There's your gift, my friend. The power of levity. My question to you is, how are you going to activate it? If you have another idea of how to activate levity, please send me an email, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. Tell me how you access levity. What works for you to make things less serious? And remember the most important thing, how you feel matters, so that you can better take care of your patients, so that you can better lead your team, so that you can be a better healer, a better parent, a better lover, a better friend. So when you feel good, that's when you can do good. Bye-bye.